this is Vidur from Wani, and we have Plini with us today. And just to start right off, I have to ask you about your latest single, Salt+Charcoal. Can you share some insight into the track?
Sure. I started writing that actually over a year ago. And because I've been touring so much, this is sort of the same that it's been for the rest of the new music that's going to come out soon. I started writing it all pretty much as soon as Handmade Cities came out, and then I've just been so slowly chipping away at actually putting it together. So it took me almost a year to finish that song, and then we recorded the drums last December and added some finishing touches. And yeah, I kind of enjoy that, because in the past I've sort of written and recorded everything in a few weeks of kind of from start to finish, but it's been fun to take that long and kind of come back to something after a month and change like one note or two notes. So yeah.
That's pretty fantastic. And when you say about that, like, you know, it comes to my mind that recently with this single and even with Handmade Cities, you had a complete band. Like, you had someone on the drums, Simon on the bass. So how was it working with more people during the recording phase rather than just you, as in the initial EPs?
Oh, I love it. For a start, it makes everything feel a lot more fresh to me, because in the past when I've kind of programmed everything, I know what it sounds like and it's kind of predictable, but giving it to someone else to add to, especially when it's someone whose style I really like, it's kind of like I get to listen to a whole new thing based on whatever they add. And it's kind of the same with this. Like, we booked a studio for a whole day and spent, I think, about 10 or 11 hours recording the drums for one 4-minute song, and like really getting into detail about all the fills and stuff like that. So it wasn't rushed at all, and it was a super kind of collaborative and fun process.
Fantastic. So, as you mentioned that since you released Handmade Cities, you've been on a great tour. You've been to United States, you've been to Europe, you've even been to India. So how's that experience been so far?
Oh man, it's been amazing. One of my favorite things to do just in life is travel. So the fact that I get to kind of do it as a job is pretty much the best thing ever. India especially was insane, because I never thought I would even necessarily get to visit it. And that was some of the most fun shows and like amazing hospitality, amazing food. Yeah, it's just all good times.
Glad you enjoyed it. So, continuing on this touring path, like, you're set to perform at Prog, My Friend Festival in Barcelona this June. So, how does it feel to be a part of a festival that is built around the prog genre?
Oh, also amazing. Like, I've been watching YouTube videos from that festival for years. Again, that's something that I never really expected that I would get to play. The lineup's amazing. The venue looks incredible, and it's kind of funny, because my music I wouldn't really think would necessarily be very suited to a festival, because I mean, it's not necessarily that catchy and there's no vocals. But we played VH1 Supersonic in India, and like, that was amazing. And a couple of years ago I did a few European festivals as well, and they were all surprisingly really good. So yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, speaking about music festivals, and like, actually the Prog, My Friend Festival won the 2017 Progressive Music Award for Best Live Event. And on the other end of the spectrum, you played Brutal Assault a year back. So does it feel that these festivals allow you to experiment or tinker in your live sound?
Definitely. What was really funny with Brutal Assault is we would have been by far the lightest band on the bill, but I think metal fans aren't closed-minded, so we didn't really make the set heavier to try and fit in more, and found that all the kind of lighter stuff actually was really well received, I think, because it might have been a nice break. And I think it'll be the same with Prog. I mean, that lineup's really varied, so I think as long as we kind of put on a good performance, people will appreciate it for what it is.
Alright, so just to wrap up this touring part of the interview, you are now set to tour North America and later Europe with Tesseract. And if I'm not clearly wrong, this is like the first time you're going on a very extensive touring cycle. So how's the build-up going for that?
All right, that's actually been quite good. In 2016, I did a kind of similar thing with a European tour with Animals as Leaders and then a North American tour afterwards. But I kind of didn't know about both of them at the same time, whereas this time it's really nice knowing, like, I know exactly what I'm doing for the rest of the year, and I've kind of already done most of the planning for everything. Like, I know the crew that I'm taking, I know where we're going to fly to, where we're going to get a vehicle and all that sort of thing. And so it's cool to have the whole year set out so I can find all the times that I have free time and kind of just put that aside to write more music.
Fantastic. So again, coming back to the music, with the new single, can fans expect an EP or an album in 2018, or are you gonna set to do that after this tour and maybe in 2019?
No, it's pretty much finished. It's an EP. It started out with about 7 tracks, and I decided that 2 of them weren't good enough, so I killed them. And then there was a 5th one that started getting really long, and I decided I'd want to really take my time with it, so I'm hoping to kind of finish that later in the year. But I got 4 tracks that I'm really happy with and pretty much finished, and hoping to release it in around July. So I'll be in Europe in June, actually, with Mestis and Arch Echo, and then the EP will come out just after that.
Fantastic. Looking forward to it. So now when we're talking about an EP, I have to ask you this question, is that with modern music industry and the diminishing sales of albums in both the digital and physical, do you think singles are, a better way, or even releasing EPs instead of full-length albums is the way to go?
In terms of business, I'm not sure, because I think an album release is still a very special thing, and I mean, it allows you, like looking at Tesseract, they're a totally modern band, but they're putting out an album and going on a world tour, and I think that's still a really exciting thing, even if a lot of people might kind of just stream it or only stream a few songs, and the way they listen to it's different. But I think the album is still a valid thing. But what I've just realized for me specifically is I put so much stuff into a song that I think an album would almost just be too much, so I'd rather keep it more limited and really focus on just a small amount of music that's really well put together. Because I noticed that there aren't really many instrumental albums that I love. Like in an album that has maybe 12 tracks, usually I love about 6, and then maybe 6 are just okay. So I'm trying to avoid that as well.
So speaking about this part, that putting a lot into the music, like since your start in 2013, the whole ambient, instrumental, prog genre as a whole has developed into a much larger market with yourself, even David and Situai, Aaron Marshall. So do you believe that now, after so many years, you're reaching a sonic limit, or do you find new ways to extend your sonic boundaries?
Yeah, totally. And I think you can hear that in a lot of the bands as well. Like bands like Polyphia and Chon are kind of experimenting with more of an electronic kind of hip-hop side of things, and that's kind of never been done before in this sort of music. So I think there's still plenty of room to explore kind of what you can do with guitar-based music. And I listen to so much stuff all the time that I find it slowly makes its way into my own playing eventually. So I think as long as I kind of keep being interested in new sounds, there'll always be something new to do.
Fantastic. So again, coming to this complicated part of diverging from the sounds, so the relationship between the fans and the artist. Like as I said, if an artist sticks to a very similar sounding records one after the other, people quickly label them as stale or not evolving. But at the same time, if an artist tries to change their sound, the fans quickly say that the artist has lost his, what made them unique. So what's your take on this?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, I guess I try not to care too much about what people might think. Because, I mean, if you look at a band like AC/DC, they pretty much sound the same for decades and decades, and they're still one of the greatest bands because they just sound like AC/DC. And then, like, one of my absolute favorite bands, Meshuggah, to some people everything they write sounds the same, and to me everything they write sounds completely different, but I can't think of many other bands that I consistently love from album to album. So I think as someone writing music, you kind of just have to figure out what is the most honest thing that you want to be writing at that time, and if your past fans hate it, then that's kind of too bad. But then maybe there'll be some other people who discover that and think that's kind of the perfect thing they want to hear at that time. So you can't win everyone, but I guess if you're writing music that's honest for you, then it's...
Yeah. Alright, final fan time question. You released Handmade Cities on vinyl last year. Can the fans expect the same treatment for the early trilogy?
Yeah, man, we've been putting that together for so long. Pretty much, I think we actually started working on a trilogy vinyl package before Handmade Cities, but because it's 3 vinyls and they're all different and the packaging's kind of fancy, it's just been taking a really long time, and I think it's almost finished.
Fantastic, glad to hear that. So, I'm pretty much done with whatever I had at my end. Any last points that you would like to add before we close this discussion?
Thanks for talking, and look forward to seeing you somewhere in the world.
Alright, thanks for talking, Plini. To all the people who listen to this interview, you can catch Plini live in Europe through June, and earlier you can catch him live with Tesseract in North America, and later again in Europe. Look forward to the new EP sometime in June, and that's it from our end. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, man. Have a good day.
Have a good day.
Bye.